is Ankarien, and I thought, many people ask me my story and they want to know more about what I do. Excuse my puppy there. They want to know more about what I do and where I come from and why I do what I do and why I'm crazy the way I am crazy. So I thought, let me start off with making a video and tell my whole story and tell you guys why and where I am now and how I got to where I am and what I'm planning for the future. I'm so excited about the future. I'm so happy at the moment in the space where I am. And so I'm going to start right at the beginning by telling you a bit of my history. My history is it's a very important part of my life. I had a lot of bad things happen to me in the past, and I live with the consequences, but also if it wasn't for those things that happened in the past, I wouldn't do what I'm doing right now. So I'm totally content and accept what happened in the past, and I'm totally aware that that has brought me to where I am today. Okay, so telling a life story is not easy, so you always try to think where to start. I'll start where, as a teenager, I was physically and emotionally abused by my stepfather, and that already as a teenager put me into quite a bit of depression, which I hid for quite a while. I hid what was going on from my mother because I was threatened. I was threatened that if you talk about it, I'm going to kill your mother, or if you talk about it, I'm just going to deny and you're going to be the liar. So as a child growing up, as a teen, I learned to deal with it, and it's one of those things I've accepted, and I don't think I've forgiven completely. It's one of the things I need to talk about in therapy. I haven't forgiven him. He's no longer part of my life or my family's life. So that's basically when I was a teenager. I did well at school. I behaved. I was sorry guys, I'm fostering a puppy and it's just getting to a little biting phase and wanting attention. So where was I, Daniela? Sorry, before I go on, I've got Daniela filming for me and she will help me along the way where I struggle.
Hello everybody. Okay, you were talking about you were doing well at school.
I was doing well at school. I actually flourished at school academically, and I was also semi-naughty, so I did at 16 start smoking, and at 17 start sneaking into clubs and all the things that normal teenagers do. I wasn't extreme. It was all just normal teen stuff. I did well at school, and I got good marks at school. I finished my matric, which is grade 12, and after school I qualified to go to university, and my dream was to study computer science. One of the people that I really looked up to is my uncle Piet Opperman. He's living in the US now, but at that stage he was sort of like a father figure to me, and he was into computer programming, computer science, excuse me, and I think that was a passion of mine. I wanted to be like him. I wanted to go into computer science. I was good with maths and I was good with computer science at school. So yes, that's what I was going to study, BSc Computer Science. And I qualified for with good marks to go to university, and off I went, and I went into res, which I don't know how my mom afforded it, but with no other, and my father's never been in the picture, so my mom just worked very hard, and I think my grandparents contributed for me to go to university as well. So I went to university and I lived in res, and it was a different different lifestyle for me, and it was a bit of a party lifestyle, where you go to clubs and you drink a lot, drugs every now and again. I would say I'd never had a problem with drugs. You go to a rave, and I'm talking about you're 18, 19 years old. Of course, we all do it, right? So the drinking, that did get a bit out of hand. It happened too often. And I realized at a stage that I was not paying too much attention to my studies. I was more into the social lifestyle of university. So halfway through the first year, going to class and meeting other people in my class, you ask them, what did you do this weekend? And they'd say, oh, I worked on this program. It's like it took me 2 days, full day and night to work on this program. And I was like, I was at 3 clubs and got drunk. I think I kissed about 17 guys, and so I didn't do very well academically at university. And I also realized with those people around me in class that am I this kind of person who's sitting in front of a computer programming all the time? I think I'm more a people's kind of person. So that I had to really evaluate what I wanted to do with my life. I thought, okay, everybody's studying psychology. It's the common thing. Everybody that does it. So let's change my major to psychology. And it wasn't too bad, but in theory, the party lifestyle still continued. And after 2 years, I flunked out of university. I never finished my degree, and but I was sad, I was disappointed, but more I was upset that I disappointed those people that believed in me, which were my grandparents, my family, my mother, because they had high hopes for me to go to university and to get a degree. Especially my grandmother passed away at that time, and it was always a dream for me to get a degree. So I was disappointed that I disappointed other people. Then I started a job in Pretoria. The university was in Johannesburg. I went to Pretoria. I started a job there. Worked for an insurance company. And again, the lifestyle at the insurance company was after work, drinks, and things like that. And then I had a part-time job after that in a restaurant with a pub atmosphere. So I'd go straight from my 9-to-5 job, have some drinks, then go to the restaurant, work my shift there, midnight, have some drinks with them, maybe go to a club, sleep 2 hours, get back to my day job, weekend, work at the restaurant, party all night. It became my lifestyle, and so alcohol did become a problem. I started doing stupid things. I would this is Zoe, by the way. This is my Yorkie, and it's my baby. So a party lifestyle did happen to me, and I did realize that I do have a sort of a drinking problem. At that stage, it wasn't as bad as what it got later on. I started doing stupid things like from a club, I would walk home at night to my commune or my flat. I lived in 2 separate places at a time, and I would walk alone home and not be afraid of everything, because when you sort of had your drink in, you're not scared of anything. It's just that. And one day I got, as I tried to open my front door, somebody attacked me, threw me to the ground. I was down. He was strangling me to a stage where I couldn't breathe anymore, and I didn't know what to do. I thought I was going to die that night right there. But what happened is my high heel shoe fell off right next to me as he threw me to the ground. So what I did was grab the high heel shoe and started hitting the guy as he was strangling me with the heel. And the noise got a nearby security guard in the street's attention, and as he came, this guy that was attacking me grabbed my bag and that I had with me, and he bailed. He ran. And I was left there. I was unconscious. The security guard phoned the ambulance for me. I was taken to hospital. Police were there. It was so long ago, I can't even remember. Yes, a case was never made up. But I remember being in a police station because I remember somebody coming to talk to me about the trauma. I'm not quite clear on what happened there. But I could have died that night because of my irresponsibility. Now again, my therapist will talk to me and say, but was it your fault? And I keep on blaming myself. I blame me, but no, it was that person that attacked me. He was wrong. And yes, so we'll get further into my therapy and things like that. So after that, I was like, stuff South Africa. I am leaving. This country is going, up in smoke. I can't handle this anymore. I had, also while I was in Pretoria, I was in my home one night and I remember I had a broken leg and I forgot to close one of my windows. And that night somebody came in because I woke up and this man was standing. As I said, I was in bed and all of a sudden this man is standing in front of my bed. I started screaming. I was living in a communal house and he basically had already opened up the sliding door to my little flatlet and he had already taken most of my stuff out while I was sleeping. So when I screamed, he ran, but he took most of my personal, what little belongings I have. My most important possession was my saxophone, which my granny and grandpa bought for me as a gift when I finished grade 12. And I already gone for saxophone lessons because I was into music all through school, playing trumpet, French horn, all sorts of brass instruments I could play. So my dream was to play saxophone, and so my prized saxophone was also stolen. So yeah, then I decided to leave the country, and I had worked for the company for a few years. I think it was about 3 or 4 years, and I cashed in on my pension to buy a ticket to the UK, and I did the working holiday visa thing. It's very popular at that time. I don't know how things are going these days, but I decided I'm going to do. My mom said I'm not going to last a year in the UK. She said it gets so cold and it's raining all the time. You are not going to last, and I was going to prove her wrong. So off I went to the UK, and I landed at Heathrow Airport. I didn't even know how to find the tube station. I got lost in Heathrow for an hour asking, where's the tube station? I knew where I had to get off at a certain station and then go to an internet cafe and they might help me find a place to stay.
Sorry, and how old were you now?
I was about 23, 24.
Okay.
And so eventually I got on the tube. I had my backpack and everything. And I got lost within stations. I think I got off at the station somewhere because I was dying for a cigarette. And I quickly had a cigarette, got back on, got to this internet cafe, and they said, okay, there's this communal house that they have there, and there's a bed available. They took me there. Half an hour later, they came. I was just starting to unpack. They came and they said, no, you can't stay here. We made a mistake. This bed is not available. We're going to have to make another plan. And they took me back to the internet cafe, and I sat there and I was like stressing. I'm in a strange country alone. I don't know where I'm going to sleep tonight, but luckily they came through for me again and they said, okay, we found another communal home. There's not really a bed available, but there is a mattress, and then a bed will become available. So went that route, and I stayed in a commune with Australians, New Zealanders, South Africans, Zimbabweans, Southern Hemisphereans. They called us Saffers. I remember, and immediately I had to just start finding a job because the money, I didn't take much money with me, and found a job immediately. It's so easy to find a job in the UK if you're into bar work, hospitality and that thing. So with the bar work and the hospitality comes drinking, you know what I mean, after work. And in the social aspect of the house, a lot of drinking happened. So, you know, things progressed in my alcohol journey. Sure, now I have to think on the sequence of events, but I did get into a relationship, a very long relationship, and as my drinking got worse and me losing one job and then starting another and losing because of alcohol, that relationship I lost as well. And then at a stage I was alone. You can see I'm like looking up into the sky because I'm trying to recall sequence of events. But I was alone, and I travelled to Harrogate in North Yorkshire. In Harrogate, I stayed in a hotel where I was working, and one night in a pub, the pub's closed at 11 o'clock there, and this guy, you know, I just met strangers and talked to them. This guy said, oh, let's all, you know, everybody go at 11 o'clock to his house and party further there. He's got booze there. And he said to me, come with me so long and others will come just now. You know, I wanted to drink, so I went and got to his house. He pinned me down and he raped me. And I've always put that in the back of my mind. It happened. I did escape through the window after a while. I ran home. I never reported it. I never spoke about it to anybody. I think the first time I spoke about it when I started therapy when I was back in South Africa, and I actually mentioned it to somebody. It's still something, you know, the other day I was at my therapist at Hope House, and she tried to delve into it with me, and she tried to get emotion out of me, and she couldn't get any emotion out of me. You know, it's just what happened, and it happened, and I don't have emotion about it. So that's something that happened. I think that also spurred off more drinking and getting worse. I mean, I got up in the morning and took some from underneath the bed, vodka, clean, just to be able to function, to be able to open your eyes and get up out of bed. That's how bad my alcohol got. I then went to Surrey in the UK. In between I travelled many places, Scotland, Ireland, whatever, but in Surrey I was also working, and I also got into a relationship there. And then I can't remember another town I was in. I was also in a relationship, and we were living together, and he was a drug addict. So he came home from after his shift, and he was all drugged up. I had a few drinks in, and there were stairs, and he basically threw me down the stairs in a rage, and that set off a whole different life direction that I went into. When he fell me down the stairs, I only woke up in hospital. I had broken cheekbone, a broken nose. I've still got the mark over there over my nose, if you can see. I don't hide it. I don't normally wear makeup. It's part of me. I had a broken collarbone. I was blue and purple all over. And he basically stole all my money and all my savings I had. While I was in hospital, he dropped off a few of my clothes and personal belongings at the hospital. He disappeared.
Who got you to the hospital?
The ambulance.
And were they called by neighbours or?
We sort of lived in a pub, so on top of the pub. So the owner, when I fell down the stairs, the owner actually called the ambulance. And when I sort of healed after a few days in hospital, it was, where do I go now? I don't have a place to stay. I've got a backpack with me. I don't have a cent on me. I've got no place to go. I'm not a UK citizen, so I don't qualify for free housing or emergency assistance. I even went and stood in the lines. I went to the Salvation Army. They put me up for one night and then they said they can't help me. I'm not a UK citizen. And then somebody in this line of housing where I stood, I just tried my luck, said to me, listen, there is a Catholic place run by nuns where you can try, and they gave me an address. I said, but I don't have money to get to this address. I can't walk there. And this lady out of her own pocket gave me some money for a cab to take me to this place, and I rocked up on their doorstep. They could see the state I was in physically, and they took me in. I stayed there for a month. Their maximum is 3 weeks. I stayed there for a month, so I overstayed. And then I became Hadagat. Now, if you don't know Afrikaans, what's the English word? I became...
Like cheeky.
Cheeky. They kept on telling me, listen, you need to find an alternative place now, you need to go out and work. And I was like arguing with them, how can I work? Look at my face, my nose is broken, I'm blue here, how can I find a job? Where must I go there? But you're overstaying. And they were being nice, but I was like arguing to them. And afterwards I said, listen, if you want to kick me out, kick me out. And I took my belongings and off I walked down the road. That's fine.
Your bad attitude.
That's me. I'm fine. I will survive. And I walked. There was a canal there. It was in winter. There was a canal there, and there was lots of homeless people that hang around the canal drinking, and you know that's what homeless people do. And I realized that because you know it's a way to survive. If you're a little bit inebriated when you're on the streets and it's cold, it helps. Believe me, it helps. So they started talking to me and asking my history, and
the homeless
they were
people.
interested, and they were bringing me beers, so it was quite nice. They looked after me, that nobody hurt me. I remember one of them specifically, a guy, he was very protective, and he would say, okay, here's an abandoned house, go sleep there tonight. There is cardboard boxes. I remember lying that night alone in this abandoned house. It was just bricks, and it was pretty much, the windows were all broken and everything, but there were cardboard boxes. I put my clothes on top of me in these cardboard boxes in the middle of winter in the UK, and I slept there for a few nights until I was told I can't be there anymore.
Ankarien, you never phoned home?
I never phoned home. I didn't want to tell my mom
anything.
No.
Because you're the big girl that's going to make it.
I'm the big girl that's going to make it, and I felt ashamed. I felt very ashamed of what my life came to me. I didn't want to admit that I'm an alcoholic. So eventually, living on the streets for 3 months, I learned a lot from the other people, and I learned respect for the other homeless people. They looked after me. Not one time was I in danger or anything. And I basically had to go through that phase for my face to heal, for me to apply for another job. Nobody was going to hire me the way I was blue and purple and everything. And the stitches were still in on my nose. So as soon as that healed, the stitches came out. I remember phoning, and I got another job in another town. It was a living job. When these people picked me up at the train station when I arrived, they didn't realize that I actually had some physical injuries, and they sort of, you didn't tell us about this. I was semi-healed, but there was still like a mark there, and I was still a little bit blue. But they said it's fine, we'll work with it. And yeah, and again, pub atmosphere, drinking got worse, got into the social life of this little village I was living in, close to Dorking in Surrey, and got into, I remember, pubs. It is the culture in the UK, I promise you, pubs, cricket, rugby clubs. you drink. So at this stage, I wanted to come clean. I really did, but I also needed money to support my habit. And prostitution did go through my mind to make money. I thought about it. I never did it, luckily. Other things went through my mind, like I need to end it. I can't handle this anymore. I tried help. I tried calling AA and I tried calling Helplines and saying I need help now. I tried calling hospitals and saying I need to detox. I can't do it on my own. I tried to detox on my own, and I went into a state of shock. I remember I was lying with a blanket and it was like coals coming from the roof, burning my skin. And it was all part of detox. You know, you go into this visual paranoia,
Like hallucination.
hallucinations, things, and I need to get some vodka or something, because I just can't anymore. I'm going to either kill myself, and nobody would help me get into hospital. So I decided, okay, I'm going to kill myself. I think the first attempt was I took a tent and a whole lot of over-the-counter pills that I could find and 2 bottles of vodka, and off I went into the Surrey Hills. And at that time, I even knew that the Surrey rapist at that time, this is many years ago, was around in those woods. I didn't care. I was in a self-destructive mode. I went and pitched my tent and I thought, okay, this is where I'm going to die tonight. Took all the pills and the vodka and passed out. The next morning, I remember an ambulance man there and cops. So some friend or whatever reported me missing, and
Wow.
I don't think at that stage I really, if I knew what I know now, I would have probably committed suicide properly, but I was looking for attention. I was put into a mental hospital. They didn't do a diagnosis to me. They cleaned me up.
Sorry, yeah, I asked this again. At this, your mom still has no idea.
No idea.
Sure.
So into a mental hospital I went. They cleaned me up, sobered me up. Oh, she's a bit depressed. That's why she tried to kill herself. No proper diagnosis, and then let me go. So the first thing was back to the bottle store and get more alcohol. And it just continued, and then I tried suicide again. This time I tried cutting my wrists. And all the medication that the hospital gave me, like the Valium and things like that, and to make me sleep, took that all, and just stupid things. I tried 6 times to commit suicide. And then when they put me in hospital, I would start cutting myself. So then they would take knives away from me. Okay, so now I don't have knives. I'm more clever than that. So what I'll do is I'll show you. Just give me a sec. I'll show you this. I know this is going to be a long video because we're still coming to important parts, but now that I'm talking my heart out, I want you to know the whole story. So what you do when you don't have a knife and you want to commit suicide is... Okay, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but you basically take the back
Warning, don't try this at home.
Don't try this at home. You take the whole thing off, and then you're sitting with the filter part of the cigarette. You burn the front part, it catches the light, it goes black, and then you put it underneath your shoe and you make it flat, and then on a piece of stone you just rub it and it goes into a sharp point, and that I hid in my pockets.
Voila, you've got a weapon.
I've got a weapon, and I used to sit, and if you come closer here, I used to go back and forth with this weapon. Now, this isn't easy like a knife or what's a lemiki?
Blade.
Blade or anything like this. This takes long and
Yeah.
it hurts.
It's almost
I
like
would sit
blunt
there,
cutting.
Cut. But what I got out of it is this euphoria feeling and seeing the blood come out. It was like my pain was
Being released.
being released. And then the nurses in the hospital would say, oh, she cut herself, she's bleeding again, and blah,
So,
blah, blah.
to the nurses, was it no big deal? She was just at it again.
Yeah, they did not diagnose anything. They were just like, she's coming clean of alcohol. So my whole wrist, this side and this side, and then at a stage on the top of my legs, I cut, and then I came out of hospital again, and at that stage somebody got hold of my mom's telephone number and called my mom in South Africa. Now at this stage I'd overstayed my visa by 4 years in the UK. I had a 2-year visa. I was in the UK for 6 years. I was working illegally.
And you're such an upstanding citizen now, Ankarien.
The truth must come out. So
No.
guys, I'm telling you the whole truth about my life.
Raw honesty.
The raw and the honest truth, or full transparency. Yes, I overstayed my visa with 4 years. I worked illegally. And at that stage, somebody called my mom. My mom called me, and she sent that person that called a one-way ticket. She paid for it. She said to me, "You're coming home. No questions asked. They will make sure you're on the plane." It's fine, okay, I'm going back to South Africa after 6 years.
And you weren't,
in the UK.
you didn't fight this. You
No.
knew you had to get home.
I knew I needed help.
Yes,
You
your
know.
family.
And I was lost in the UK. I really was. I did enjoy my time there. I had fun times. I recall a lot of fun times. And I learned a lot. And it was a beautiful country. And I will go there back in a heartbeat.
Just under different circumstances.
Under different circumstances, yeah. So I came back to South Africa, and at the duty free at Heathrow, I still had some pocket money left. So I loaded my hand luggage with vodka bottles. Okay, here's something that not everybody knows. I'm admitting this now.
To the world.
To the world. On the plane, I was taking some vodka in the bathroom. I was also drinking on the plane, the drinks that they offered.
Yes.
And I actually passed out on the plane, and I did stuff that I don't know that I did.
What do you mean?
So what happened was, when I arrived in South Africa at the airport in Johannesburg, as I got off the plane, I thought I just had a nice sleep. As I got off the plane, the pilot or the co-pilot or somebody stood there and called me over and said, "I just want to let you know that while you've been on this plane, you actually jumped onto somebody's lap and you made a scene, and then you went and lay on the floor. I don't think you recall all this, and I just want to tell you that you will be banned from," I can't remember what the flight was.
I am so sorry for laughing, but... Sorry, guys, knowing Ankarien now as the person I know her, to hear this little rebel is quite something.
But to be honest, that it was a blackout. I did not
So
know that.
was that
I
your
did
first total blackout?
No, it wasn't the
Okay.
first, no.
So-
I did not know that these things happened on the plane. All I know is that I'm banned from some, I can't remember.
Airline.
I'm banned from some airline. Okay, we need to move on because I can tell so much. So, got back to South Africa, in the bedroom, drink the vodka or whatever.
Wait,
My
you
mom-
you had
my
to
mom-
face your mother.
My mom knew I had a problem, so eventually my mom handled me very, very discreetly, in a very soft manner, and she waited for the right timing, and she came to me and she said, "Now, we're going to talk about this." And she said, "I'm prepared," and my mom doesn't have money, okay? I'm prepared to take out a loan to get you into a decent rehab. Are you willing to go? And I agreed. I went to rehab. It was a nice rehab, a private one. Zoe. So I did come clean. I did my stint in rehab. I was promoted in rehab to this leader and that leader, and I was quite important there. And
So the beginning starts.
no,
Oh,
no.
sorry.
You let go after rehab into the real world,
Okay.
and from that closed environment into the open environment, and you don't go for ongoing therapy and everything. I fell again and I relapsed.
And
what they did. Sorry.
why did you not decide to, or I mean, I assume you didn't fulfill your commitment to continue treatment.
No, the treatment I did.
Well, no,
when I
not
came
treatment,
out of-
counselling or whatever it would be afterwards,
They didn't
the
offer
management.
they didn't offer me counselling afterwards.
Okay.
I would have had to do that in my private capacity. So yeah, I relapsed again. What they did do in rehab is the psychologist or therapist that saw me in rehab said to me, listen, there's much more serious underlying issues here. As soon as you leave, you need to go and see a psychiatrist. There is things going on here. And they did tell my mom that as well. So I'm sort of trying to recall how things happened, because that stage of my life, drinking, getting clean, I went to another rehab after that. Again, I relapsed after, and then I went to an AA rehab. I joined AA, I went to a rehab. During this stage, I was taken to Tara Hospital, which is a government psychiatric hospital in Johannesburg. And over there, they actually took me in. I think I was in for 3 months. And they diagnosed me bipolar with borderline personality disorder. I thought this was the end of the world, and I felt sorry for myself. And they put me on medication after medication, and this didn't work, and that didn't work. And then I went into paranoia, and then I went into suicidal again, and then I went
It was
manic.
all very real at the time for you.
It was very real, but I didn't understand bipolar, and I didn't understand what was happening to me, and all the chemical imbalances and the different meds they tried on me. At the time, my mom came to visit me in the hospital, and I was sitting there like a zombie, shaking, and I was being stiff, and I was saying to my mom, I can't speak properly. And my mom goes to the nurse and says, what have you put her on now? What's going on here? And they say, okay, let me give her a pill for the side effects of this pill and side effects of that pill. And the next minute they changed me to a totally different medication with different side effects. After 3 months I was released there on a medication that semi-worked, but my brain was a fog. And I still had to concentrate on my recovery, so I had to go to AA meetings. I went 4 or 5 times a week at that stage. And from then on, I was sober, and I know I was diagnosed bipolar, and I had to take medication for the rest of my life. Now, if we move on a bit further, many years went by where I was unable to function in society. I was lying in bed, being depressed. I was feeling sorry for myself. My medication wasn't working for me. I was like a fog. And then we moved down to Cape Town. I was very overweight. The medication put me onto, at a stage I was 120 kilograms. So I wasn't feeling good about myself. And it was hard to move around or exercise because you're overweight. So let's just lie in front of the TV and do nothing and feel sorry for yourself. That was me. And then we moved to Cape Town, and I started seeing a psychiatrist at Valkenburg Hospital at the outpatients department there. And she started working intensely with me with an hour session every month. And she would talk to me about my my history, so she would do the psychology, therapy, and the psychiatry with me. And we figured out the 4-year journey I had with her, Dr. Roswell, love her to bits. The 4-year journey I did with her, we finally noticed that one of the antipsychotics I was on, we could wean off that now. So when that antipsychotic went off and I was totally off of that, it was like the world opened to me. I can't explain to you what happened there. I lost 30 kilograms within 3 months. My brain cleared up. It's like a fog that lifted out. I remember driving with my mom in streets and recalling street names, and 2 hours later I said, "Ma, that street name down there, and I know exactly where it is called Wood Drive." And it was like, my mom, "Yeah, I know that." I said, "But Ma, you don't understand. I could never see things like this before." So everything just came out. Look, as I said, my life changed around. Everything cleared up for me, and I decided I want to live again. I want to do something with my life, and that's the start of things. Apology for the cuts in videos, but with a Samsung phone we can only record a certain amount of time and then we have to stop, so somehow we're going to put these videos together. I love wearing caps, so I'm going to put my cap on. It just makes me feel more common, plain Jane cowboy that I am. So at this stage I was on SEC medication. I can show you my medication that I take daily. I'm on lithium, which we found the other mood stabilizers didn't work for me, so we went old-fashioned. I'm on lithium, and I'm on Xylift, which is an antidepressant. I used to be on another antipsychotic, but I've stopped that completely because I don't feel I get manic or psychotic anymore, so I don't need it. I've got a sleeping tablet that helps me sleep because I get racing thoughts. It's part of being bipolar. You wake up in the middle of the night with crazy ideas, as you'll see in the future when we come to it. And then at the moment I'm on diazepam, which is Valium, just because I was later on diagnosed with severe anxiety. So this is a medication that I take daily, and I do not skip a beat because I know my sanity is at stake. So I'm basically going to end off. I've told you a lot about where I come from, my history, what I've been through, abuse, rape, suicide, assault, abuse, homelessness. It's me, it's part of me. The scars are here, I'm wearing them, I'm proud of them, and I wouldn't let go of them for the world. So we're going to continue the next journey. We're going to film it tomorrow, where I'm going to tell you what I actually did when everything cleared up and when I started and discovered what my passion is in life and what I am going to do for the rest of my life. And then also tell you about my current situation, what I'm doing with my charity, and my future visions, which I'm so excited about. I'm already in planning phase with my visions, not even in planning phase, I'm already acting on them. They're not known to the world yet, but they will be soon. And I'll also tell you about some of my personal Christianity declarations and how God has worked in my life, and about my future and where I see things going. I just wanted to introduce you to me and my past, and then tomorrow we're going to film where we are today into the future. So hope you love it, and I'm just me being me. As I say in the song, I know Hillsong worship song, they say, who I say I am. And I was just thinking, that's it. I am just me, and if you don't accept me, then don't be in my life, because I'm not going to change. I'm me, with my scars and all. We're going to continue tomorrow.